Hey guys, Eric here. I think there might have been one Monday morning, maybe around 6 o'clock. Jesus and John were having their normal, regular Monday morning meeting. They're drinking their Starbucks coffee. They're just walking down the road, just catching up. And Jesus is trying to talk to John about the faith and different things about Jesus himself. And John starts reminiscing about all the cool things Jesus has done in the past and talking about those things. And he doesn't realize that Jesus has stopped back behind him. And so John turns around and sees that he stopped and he says, "What's up?" And Jesus looks at him and he walks a little bit closer to John, and Jesus says to John, "John, I challenge you to live out the name that I gave you. The name that you were born with. Beloved of Abba, beloved of me, Jesus. I challenge you to live out that name." And you can see now the sweat kind of coming off John's forehead. He's turning a little bit pale. He's nervous, and he looks at Jesus and he kind of trembles with his voice and says, "But I feel like I've done that, Jesus." And Jesus says, "Well, John, I think if you take that challenge, then people are going to call you crazy. Some may call you a fool. Some may just walk away from you completely. They don't get it. But for others, John, you taking that challenge and you living out the name that I gave you, beloved of Abba, it will change their life. They're going to want to know more about me. They're going to want to know more about the faith. It's going to be the things that you do, the things that you say. It's going to be different than everybody else. And they're going to see that. It won't be a lot sometimes. It may just be a handful. But if you're going to be a fool for me, that's what it's going to involve." And so John's just kind of perplexed. He doesn't really know what's going on. And so Jesus kind of smiles and he goes, "Hey, go get with the other disciples and let's talk about it next Monday." So John walks off and he's just, all these thoughts running through his head, and he goes to the disciples and he goes, "Guys, you just won't believe this conversation I had with Jesus this morning over coffee. He gave me this challenge. And he said the challenge is for me to live out the name that he gave me, the beloved of Abba. But if I do that, some may call me crazy, some may call me a fool. But he said, but for some, it just may change their life." And you can kind of hear the smirks and see the smiles on the other disciples' faces. And I believe maybe Peter rose up and he kind of snickered and he said, "John, that's what Jesus has been trying to teach us for a while now." And John kind of raises his hand and goes, I'm a slow learner, sorry." And I think the next Monday, John and Jesus meet, and John says, "I'll take your challenge." And then fast forward maybe a couple of years, we see Jesus, he's died, he's buried, he's resurrected, the disciples saw him, and now Jesus is back up in heaven. And fast forward, 2 or 3 years later, and Paul is now writing to a church there in Corinth. And there in 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 10, Paul is wanting to encourage, but to challenge the church and make them remember the challenge that Jesus gave John that one Monday morning. And there in 1 Corinthians 4:10 he goes, "We need to be fools for Christ's sake." We may be put up on a pedestal, on a stage, and people may look at us and go, "They're awkward, they're different, we're going to be this spectacle." But Jesus said that's what it looks like to be a fool for Christ. Some may call us crazy. Some may call us a fool. We may be laughed at, spit upon. But Christ says, "Be a fool for me." And what does that look like, to be a fool for Christ? I think it's one thing. It's love others. It's just love people. And I think it goes beyond just saying that love God, love people. It's actually going and doing. It's the love doing. It's doing love to our community, to our people. So my challenge to myself and to all of us this week is to go love other people. Find a way to meet people where they are hurting. Find their needs and go love on them. Hey, this may simply mean writing a thank you card, sending a text, making a phone call, maybe going to somebody's house with some food or a dinner. There's tons of ways we can love on everybody and on others in our lives. So that's my challenge to all of us today. And let us not forget the challenge that Jesus gave us as well. Guys, as always, go to my website, ericjchristian.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next week, have a great day.